Jay, you always focus on it's a new day. Today in practice, it looked like you were spending some time, Ryan McLeod talking about just wanting to be more offensive zone time, specifically down low. When your team does that, obviously you've had a lot of success down the stretch and even in the LA series. How do you make sure that your team can do that in Game 4?
Yeah, I think it's a strength of our team. I think the big thing in order to have that type of zone time, you got to be able to manage pucks through the neutral zone, and we can do a better job. We've done it well in one game. The other two hasn't been our strongest attribute, so that's an area we can be better in.
No Zach Hyman today. Do you expect to have him available for Game 4?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what comes out the gate tomorrow night. He did not practice today.
Day to day?
Sorry?
Day to day?
He just did not practice today.
At this point, are you willing to discuss or talk about who will start in net for you in Game 4?
You'd never asked me that question through the playoffs, so I'm going to reserve the right to go into tomorrow. You can wait and see tomorrow, or what do you always pick? You pick the what net someone's in or whatnot. So, but yeah, we'll sleep on our lineup decisions.
Fair.
Jay, excuse me, your team's shown a pretty good ability to bounce back.
Yep.
As you've talked about throughout the course of the playoffs, that now you're down to 8 teams instead of 16, instead of 32. How good do you feel about your team's ability to bounce back tomorrow?
Very good. Yeah, very good. I think we're a team that's unified in its purpose and a team that's deaf to doubt. So for me, we head into today, no one was happy with the game last night. We took our medicine and we made sure to use today to set us up to have some success tomorrow. And, the way you do that is by making sure you do your work, you honestly self-assess, and you address the areas that have to get cleaned up.
Cody, Ceci, and Darnell Nurse have a pretty thankless job. Like, they're taking on the opponent's top lines every night.
Yep.
When things maybe aren't going as well, or they're trying to kind of get the ball rolling in their favor, how do they do that? Because they're just taking on opponent's top lines. How do they act if they're not pushing offense? How do they maybe get the ball rolling in the right direction?
Yeah, I just think for us, when they're at their best, they're playing a simple brand of hockey, straightforward, direct. Nothing complicated with the puck, and they're hard defenders. They've been solid for us all season long.
Cody was saying that when Matthias Ekholm came, obviously you put him with Evan Bouchard. You used them a lot with Conor. Did you find that Darnell and Cody Ceci's role kind of changed a little bit from the trade deadline on, where they're strictly more in a defensive role than maybe they were even before?
Well, I think what did Cody have in terms of goals for this year? He had 1 goal for. So it's not like we changed his role or anything like that. I think those two players relish the opportunity to go against the best players on the other team. And, I think when we had the addition of Ekholm, what that did was it kind of changed the complexion of the D-core, because Tyson Barrie was moved out and Matthias Ekholm came in. Both of those players are polar opposites in what they bring to the table.
In front of your net, Jay, what would you specifically like to see cleaned up?
Yeah, well, I think we can be a lot heavier, a lot harder in that area. I think when we're at our best, we're a team that controls that part of the rink. And yesterday, our engagement in that area wasn't where it needed to be. That was one part of our game that can certainly improve.
More will, or was it strategy, execution last night? What would you say?
Probably a bit of all that, what you mentioned. In the end, we weren't hard enough in an area where we have to be hard.
Hey, Jay, I know Dustin Schwartz does a great job with your goaltenders, but does he scout team's goaltenders for you as well? And how much do you guys use that information he gives you?
Do you want his job definition?
Goaltending coach, yes. Yeah.
No, that's standard operating procedure for every NHL goaltending department or goaltending coach, is that they look after the pre-scout on the other team's goalies.
So does it make a difference who's playing goal for them, I guess? And is
Yeah.
so Dustin's
Yeah.
got to kind of find video on
Yeah.
Aiden Hill.
You know, that stuff doesn't just occur today. That was, you know, we had an idea that we would see multiple goalies in this series, and it looks like that's what's playing itself out. For us, you know, as much as it's an emphasis on doing our work or pre-scouting the other team, it's things that we can do better as well.
Jay, Janmark was on the ice. Is he a player possibility tomorrow?
Yeah, he's been on the ice with us for the last few days, Jim, and, you know, I think it was a positive sign for him that he continues to practice with the team and improve.
And how do you decide whether to play Conor and Leon together and Conor and Leon apart, driving their own lines? Is it your own look at things or the team you're playing against?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, and I wouldn't just say it's my own. We spend a lot of time talking about trying to set the conditions that are most favorable to our team. And, you know, I think sometimes they play together, sometimes they play apart. In the end, we're trying to find the right combinations in order to help push us forward.
Why did you choose to play them on the same line in the LA series? Those are the two centers you were playing against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think, do you guys remember when? This is a test for you guys who like to think of line combinations in practice and all that kind of stuff. You know, we move them around the chessboard quite often. For us, we, you know, sometimes if we feel that that's a punch in the arm or a shot in the arm that we need, we might do that. Very rarely are we stuck in one way of thinking, which is, you know, this is the only way to do something. I think that comes from experience. I think that comes from knowing your team personnel. And in the end, you know, I think our interchanging of parts makes us a dangerous team. It's part of who we are.
Didn't you make that switch after a player got banged up? Was that after a player got banged up, didn't you make that switch then?
No.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins last night post-game said that, you know, he felt like maybe he needed to get a little bit grittier, get to that inside area a little bit. What have you analyzed in his game here in the playoffs, maybe a little different than the success he had in the regular season?
Yeah, for him, he hasn't found the back of the net, but I see him in the scoring chances, which is a good sign. I really liked his shot selection in game number 2. You know, it hasn't dropped for him, but he's around it, and I think you worry. You know, he had a great chance in the third period there. I think you worry when you're not getting the chances. And, you know, he's done other things. He's not a one-dimensional player. He's done other things to help our team. And, you know, I think that's a good lesson for a lot of young players who only measure their impact by the numbers they put on the board. I think Ryan's a great example of someone who can impact the game in different ways. It hasn't dropped for him offensively, but he's done a lot of other really good things.